Are you tired of the same old baseball showcase you've come to know? It's time for a new experience. The Top 100 Experience, a high-powered multi-day event in a professional setting showcasing your skills and talents at AAA ballparks. This is your chance to play at a professional stadium, learn from former MLB players, and compete in front of college coaches. This year is the first installment of their Stadium Series. The experience will be back at MBT Bank Stadium, home of the New York Mets AAA affiliate, and then the event heads to PNC Field in Scranton, Pennsylvania, home of the AAA New York Yankees. For more information or to register today, visit top100sports.com and click on the Top 100 Experience page, or click the link in the description of this video.
Some Sade. Sade. Get a little knuckle in there.
Oh my God.
We're talking about the knuckleball today. That's all we need to talk about. Speaking about knuckleballs.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Episode 40 of Mound Visit. The new year, 2024. Really exciting. And actually, speaking of the new year, I don't know if you're a Larry David guy, but today, according to Larry David, is the last day that you're allowed to say Happy New Year. So, Happy New Year to you.
Well, you're supposed to take your Happy New Year to you too, and it's a good one coming in hot. So, speaking of last day, I know that January 6th, for all you Catholics out there and people who take down decorations, Christmas decorations, celebrate Christmas. The little Christmas, when the three wise men have been said that you're supposed to take your Christmas decorations down on the 6th. So 3 more days to enjoy that festive holiday.
There we go.
Clean it up. But listen, if I could show you what's in around my Christmas tree still, I got tents. I got games. I got it's a playpen at the barn. I don't
That's
have
awesome.
Ladies or that important lady who makes stuff happen around here. Women make Christmas happen.
Hey.
The elves they're supposed to clean up, but they don't come around here. So
you got a little work to do.
So we got work to do, or we're just continue to play and make more of a mess.
Hey. Either one sounds all right to me. But speaking of continuing to play, I mean, it's been a while since we've talked ball here on this show. And I think it's fair to say that the ones who have been really playing this MLB offseason, how about those Los Angeles Dodgers, man?
Okay. The story's old, isn't it? I mean,
it is old. It is old, but we haven't chatted about it.
We get the biggest checkbook in the league. That's just a fact. Okay, they must have. They got something that all the other teams don't, and that's called more money. So here's what I do know about business, though, bro. Here's a fact: any company that spends the most money to acquire a customer wins.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Dick's Sporting Goods. They spending more money than them when it comes to acquiring a customer. I don't know who their competition is anymore. I know there's maybe some sports authorities out there, or very rare some mom and pop shops. But right, Dick's Sporting Goods is
sure, yeah, of course.
I know Dunham Sports was around here, but they're fading. So I can't think of anything else other than some blue chip funds, but we're not going there. But we're talking blue chips, and the team that is blue chip is the Dodgers. They spent the most money, continually spend the most money, and if they don't get a return of investment of, I said, 3 World Series in the next 10 years, I don't know what that investment was for.
Yeah.
Press is on.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think that's the conversation, I think, because you've seen teams spend money before. You talk about the old Bronx Bombers and those iterations of those Yankee teams where it was kind of the thought process was like, oh, they bought championships, which, wasn't necessarily true, but this is as close to like a super team in baseball. I mean, we see it a lot in basketball, but this is as close to a super team in baseball that I think we've seen, where you've got 2 MVPs in the order, another one who just joined. Go ahead.
Closing the game with the middle of the order.
Right.
They're going to face 4 out of 10 times. I mean, you better get that first pitch strike. Here's just fundamental pitching. First pitch strikes, the first out of the inning is important when you're closing. Otherwise, you got a big puzzle, and you better work through it. But again, no guarantees. Like I said, everybody's saying, okay, the Vegas odds are, but 3 of the 4 best records in baseball fell out.
Well, that's, it's true, and it's a very good point, because I mean the Dodgers were.
Does it matter?
Well,
Will it matter?
I know. They were a 100-win team last year. They got knocked out by the Diamondbacks. That's baseball. But it is when you spend $1 billion in one offseason, you better win a championship. You know what I mean? And I think at this point, I always feel like no matter the sport, it's always unfair to say it's championship or bust. But I think for the Dodgers for the next 10 years, it's championship or bust.
So does that mean if they're spending billions, does that mean they have trillions? Literally.
It's a good question.
If you have thousands, you're spending hundreds. If you have 10,000s, you're spending thousands. Isn't that the way it works? Again, I'm just trying to do common sense stuff. I'm a common sense guy.
It's not a lot of comments.
I take the common sense, I take the complex, and I try to make it dumbed down a little bit, because that's how my brain processes things. So if you're spending $1 billion, how many billions or hundreds of billions? And when you take hundreds of billions, how close are you to that T word, man?
It's funny because you look at a team that spends that much money, or at least is committing that much money over the next 10, however many years, because obviously Ohtani's contract is deferred. But it's a testament, I think, to exactly what you just said, where they're not only making an investment in the team and in the organization, but in the acquiring customers, aka fans. And I mean,
they got a whole country. There you go. So your revenue stream, went up, dude.
Yeah, and it's also like, I mean, you think about, I mean, there's always been a reason for people in Los Angeles to go to a Dodgers game. Not only is the stadium beautiful, it's sunny Southern California, but the team's always been good. But now when you not only have the pedigree that comes with being the Los Angeles Dodgers, being one of the best teams in baseball, but you not only have that and you continually add to that, it just makes, I mean, that has to excite the fan base even more.
Dodger dog is now $50.
Right.
Your Bud Lights are going to be what?
$25 for a
cow.
Yeah.
Miller Lights, all the brews that are going to be at the stadium. You might as well. People are going to be sneaking in, and dude, Dodgers. People are arriving in the 3rd inning, leaving in the 7th. Sometimes there's always a steady traffic flow. If you price of admission to watch Ohtani play 4 innings, like his hourly wage just went up even more.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking like that. We're talking Moneyball right now. A different Moneyball. So there's going to be some books written on this, changing the game, the structure of all that. But, man, exciting stuff. Name, image, and likeness. Again, I never hate on the player. You can't. Because anybody who even played the Powerball, it was $800 million, almost $1 billion. So you can feel like a Dodger for a day. Lucky winner up in Michigan. You can't tell people how to spend their money. Can't. But you got to pay to play, and the Powerball number goes to 117. The Dodgers got them. They got a few other people. Yep. And kudos to him, man, for being unselfish, dude, to make the team better, to say, I don't need that. I don't need that. I think teams are going to have to take a page out of that playbook to even compete now. So there'll be
great point.
There'll be some other new, probably some negotiating points when it comes down to competitive advantage, right?
So
the new basic agreement, which is when? Yeah. What's the new basic agreement?
It'll be in 3 years?
Okay,
I think 2 or 3 years, something like that.
I wonder if that's going to be a topic, a bone of contention.
I'm sure it's going to be, because for me, this, and to wrap up this segment, I think, to me, it almost brings up another larger point, which is it's been like this in baseball for a while now, but the rich just keep getting richer, and those supposed small market teams, smaller market teams, continue to move down the rung, or down a rung, down the ladder, whatever, in terms of their spending. It's just, it brings up a larger issue for me going on within the game of baseball. And you look at the free agents on the market now. I know it's not a super strong class, but you've got the reigning Cy Young winner still on the market, but but someone who hasn't thrown a pitch in the major leagues yet just got $325 million. And I'm not saying, Yamamoto isn't an unbelievable talent, but it's just, it's a crazy thing to look at. And I think teams are scared to get locked into these long-term contracts, because they know that the ownership isn't going to allow them to operate like the Dodgers, where even if they have big deals on their payroll, they won't allow them to add more. And I think with the institution of the larger luxury tax threshold and the different levels of it, where if you go over a certain amount, your draft position gets bumped down 10 spots. It's like, so now we're not only are we rewarding small market teams for not spending money, but we're punishing the teams that are trying to put a good product on the field.
Listen, if people want to have their own network, even like Yes Network,
yeah,
the Yankees were scoffed at, and look, everybody loves to watch people rise to success. They love hating. They love hating on a team or a person that has success. It's all of a sudden it villainizes, a team or a player for being really good or successful.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've been having this discussion a lot, just in general. I think it applies to this topic we're talking in baseball. Is that there's enough on this planet for everybody to thrive.
Yeah.
And there's equal opportunities. Granted, these opportunities to say, oh, well, I want to be a professional athlete. All right, well, you got to work really hard, and you got to, devote and be at the right place, right time.
Yeah, yeah.
Some stars align, not get hurt, a lot of those type of things.
Of course.
But, again, in life, you want to be a successful business person or a successful broadcaster or whatever you want to be in life. I tell all these kids and I'm saying that for the fact that, I got a hot buzzword on my tongue. It's name, image, and likeness.
Yeah.
Right? It's a thing that we always got these hot buzzwords, or AI, or what's hot in the news right now. It doesn't matter what it is. It's the topic of the subject we talk about.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, there you go. Right
Never mind. Just ignore me.
Disgusting. But value your name. There's one. There's a name nobody values. Right? Look what you did. You devalued. You didn't honor your parents' name. Disgrace. Right? You're known as a disgrace to your name, your image, and your likeness. So, as an athlete, or just even as a person who is an athlete in the past, is now, or will be, you're going to be a non-athlete longer than you're going to be one. And that's this whole subject matter, is that you got to learn these skill sets. Look, I'm behind a microphone. I don't know. I've never run a podcast. We're doing this, man. We're going forward. Everybody's talking, giving their opinions, trying to get an audience, which, by the way, I posted what I posted on my Instagram reel, and great success. I just stole like an artist. I saw this guy with his pants hiked up. I went to both of my videos. It reminded me of some things to do to loosen up the clubhouse, make some guys laugh. And I'm up to like 25,000 views on this dumb video reel I had, just horsing around, jacking my pants up like Urkel, and revealing a little bit too much of myself. So, just in having fun. Again, kids, man, I don't know. I'm saying it out loud, but I hate to preach on a soapbox, but your name, image, and likeness matters, whether you're an athlete or not, especially if you're an athlete. It's a great responsibility. You wear your name on the back of your jersey. We talk about Otani. His name is gold. He's gold in a country that loves him, adores him. He's seeking the American dream. Dominated in 2 different countries. The Dodgers love him. They're going to profit from it. And every other ball player. I mean, shoot, roll it back to here in my zip code. Andrew McCutchen signs back.
Yep.
Might be for a lot less money than he ever has made. Making $5 million is no chump change, but to finish out, he's making a name and ending his career here in Pittsburgh, where he's a legend. So again, name, image, and likeness matters. Your bank account, God love you if you spend all of it, but legacy has it. You're not going to take it with you, even if you have all of it or a lot of it. So, it's just my whole thing with this is I hope that baseball can sustain or come up with something that it doesn't put a distaste in people's mouths that the money, we got gambling's allowed now, right?
Yep.
Gambling's allowed in baseball, in all sports. And now we're the guy who used to, this brings up a tidal wave. Pete Rose is banned from baseball.
Yep.
And the guy gambled. But now we got money everywhere. Do whatever you want, gamble. Okay, there's guys who did steroids that are in the Hall of Fame. Right? There's guys who are the bad steroid users. But there's guys who just we'll just get him right in because he was whatever, not caught or whatever. Well, I think for Pete Rose, I'm sorry, as a player, I don't know whether he gambled or not as a player. I'd like to think he just did it as a manager, but that's one of the greatest of all time. Yeah, he should be in the Hall of Fame. That's my argument there.
Yeah, you're right. It is a whole nother topic, and it's like I always think just how can you? The Hall of Fame is supposed to tell the story of the game of baseball, and how can you tell that story without the all-time hits leader? So it's a whole nother topic of discussion. But speaking of telling stories, there's an activity I saw on formerly Twitter, now X, and someone was asking if you could show someone who's never seen a baseball game before, someone who wants to get into the sport but they've never seen a game, if you could show them one game from the entire history of baseball, you could show them one game to make that person fall in love with the game or become interested in it, what would you show? And I think it's a really cool question. I have my answer. If you need a second, I could give you mine first. But if you've got something in mind.
Go ahead.
Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. And hear me out here first. So 2017 World Series Game 5 between the Dodgers and the Astros. Now, I know that you talk 2017 Astros, you think of one thing. But this game, not only were there, a few future Hall of Famers on the field. I mean, you had Verlander, Kershaw's on the Dodgers. I don't think he pitched in that game. I don't know. Kershaw pitched. I don't know if Verlander did, but a guy like Altuve who could be a future Hall of Famer one day, things like that. I mean, there were multiple lead changes in that game. There were homers. There was clutch hitting, clutch pitching. So you can show this person who's never seen baseball all these different aspects of the game. The atmosphere there in Houston was electric. The game went to extra innings. There was a walk-off hit, game-tying hits, game-tying home runs. I mean, it had everything that you could want, and the postseason atmosphere. Now, you think of all of that, which is all awesome, and I think the funny thing to do would be to turn to the person who you showed that game to and be like, hey, the team that won that game? So they eventually won the World Series, and 2 years later, it was uncovered that they were a part of one of the biggest, if not the biggest, cheating scandal in the history of baseball. And then you could explain that to them. So it's like a whole, they get some drama right off the bat almost. I don't know if that's,
Like I said, and again, this is where I have a hard time, maybe because in my mind, I think of Charmed Life, Sunshine, and Rainbows, where it's almost like discovering that there is no Easter Bunny or Santa Claus, right? And you sit there. It's the whole story. Like people go, how would you describe? And you've heard me say this before. How do you describe what it was like, Grill? You got to do it, see front row seat.
Yeah.
And I say it's The Wizard of Oz, the movie The Wizard of Oz, combined with a sprinkle of Revenge of the Nerds. The jocks versus the nerds. And
Right.
the brand of baseball that I grew up on, which, I remember all my cards at the bubble gum. I grew up in the era of bubble gum. It tasted like absolute, you got it the cracky underwear or whatever. It's just terrible, but you still ate it. And they were 25 cents a pack or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And now I tried to go buy my kids.
Oh, forget about it.
Baseball, right? And I got to focus on the state because I think that is the subject. We've gotten so far away from it being the game. It's now entertainment. And because we've monetized and put such high stakes and value on what this guy is. We're comparing this dollar amount to, wow, he's going to beat him. It's becoming like the Conor McGregor $100 million fight, right? It's all this power of money and power.
Sure. Yeah, it's a business.
And we've now mingled it now where you're trying to tell me the game that matters. Like I said, it's making me go, shoot, man, with all the news that I hear, it's not about we got so-and-so. It's more about, wow, he got 300 million.
Yeah.
It's the number becomes more important than the name on the back.
Well,
it's becoming like this stick for me, anyways, for me. And dude, I don't hate on anybody. If you can get it, dude, that's the state. I wish I was playing now for the next 15, 20 years because I would be in that mix of making more than I did. But that, I made more than the guys before me.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
It will always trend. So I never hate on going like, oh my God, I can't believe, and talk like that. That's what guys will do. That's what anybody in any business should do. Your pizza parlor should be getting $1 or more every now and again because the price of everything is going up as inflation goes up and the value of things go up.
Mm-hmm.
Does it go up as fast? I don't know. We're going pretty fast.
Yeah.
I would like to think that, from a competitive standpoint, there's no way that our game is going to become fair until they can take some of that business side and slow down so that these other teams or make some rules where these other teams or owners, because it's not like these owners of teams are not wealthy.
Yeah.
The guy over here gets a bad rap because he is one of the wealthiest owners in the game and the organization itself. I know a lot of people offered to buy it that were Pittsburgh, people that would love to try to inject dollars into getting players to come here, stay here. I know players want to come here. It's a great city. You don't have to fight through a bunch of traffic. It's a hometown feel for families, loyal fan base. So I don't think it's that. I think it's just owners. If you're going to own a team, it's play by the rule book. And, it seems like there's more concessions into, well, I don't really want to win. So go ahead. You go ahead and win.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make this
I want to
money.
turn a profit.
I want to turn a profit. It's no big deal to me, which is disappointing because it trickles down to the fans, right? The fans, I feel bad, and I hear it. People are just so disinterested in the We Are Family pride, Willie Stargell gang here, or Oakland franchise, Stories franchise, a lot of World Series under their belt, and low market team. Maybe they're going to Vegas because now it's going to be like, yep, let's go. Let's turn on the Jets because now I want to come out and do something and get the attention. Well, I think everybody should come out the gate. And like I said, I always talked about that floor instead of a salary cap. If there's going to continuance up, then so should the scale push up.
It's a good point. I agree with you 100%. I don't think there's any way that they introduce a salary floor without a salary cap, which I think is dumb, but it just makes sense that way to me because the owners are always going to have pushback because they know that there are owners who are willing to spend more money than others, and whether that's right or not, that that there are a certain number of owners who are happy with, you know, doing the bare minimum. And that's why I always say, like, the Rays are an unbelievable organization, but they're a bad influence because they're good every year and they spend no money and they never retain their homegrown stars aside from
they got the best. Whatever their cybermetrics is.
Well,
it's ridiculous. Like,
but that's the thing. Not everybody can be the Rays, and I think that's part of the issue. Is everybody wants to be like the Rays or the Guardians, where the Guardians just develop pitcher after pitcher and stay in it, but they won't. They won't.
Well, I like to be able to make. I bought some chicken drumsticks last night for dinner, and I would like Colonel Sanders' recipe, but I have to go to KFC to go get it if it wants to taste like that. Because out of my oven and the breadcrumbs I got isn't going to make it taste like KFC. So the D-Rays, have their formula. They're not going to run it out.
Right.
Right? Yankees have their formula. Dodgers have their formula. Anaheim, right? There's a team like we've always Anaheim used to be such a. I remember even as a player, the rally monkey, the like, oh my God, look, Anaheim was a place to go. Wow, these guys come out and ball out. It was like a big market feel there where you're like, I got to bring my A game. It just seemed like everything was going on there. A lot of money there. So, you just wonder, and I'm just throwing that out there because we're having this discussion about what's the formula, what's the mix for a winning team.
Yeah.
Of course, it's always about the players. It's always about the players and getting the right mix. And the litmus test on a guy who's going to sign for $300 million is you're going to be like, yo, I'm good. I'm just do it, or I'm still hungry to do something in the game.
It's a great point. It's a great point, and I feel like we saw that. It's interesting that you mentioned the Angels because they're almost in a league of their own too because they spend money. They signed Trout to the extension. They signed Pujols to a 10-year deal. They signed Rendon to that massive contract. Josh Hamilton got a huge contract from them, but it's just the players in general that they've, a lot of those big contracts that they gave out just didn't work out. So they're in it. It's almost different where like they weren't making necessarily the smartest moves with the money they had, but you have to always credit the Angels because they were willing to spend the money. So it's like, it's just a weird side of the spectrum.
Dude, that's a good place to play. I don't know how you can be disgruntled.
Right.
Playing in Southern Cal. I enjoyed it. It was a good little get me over breaking ball.
Mm-hmm.
I became a Brave, and I woke up every morning and going like, holy cow, I get this great vibe and sense of like it was a good place to play.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, did you think of a game that you would show to that one baseball fan? Can you think of one? It can even be from your childhood, from that. I know you talk about we talk all the time, and obviously you.
Well, I know which one it wouldn't be.
Oh, okay.
It wouldn't be because nobody wants to sit around for that long. It's the 33-inning game, the longest game in the history of baseball. People be like, 33 innings? What the hell?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I mean, good God. I would have to say, and I'm just saying because this is a lens of a pitcher.
Sure.
Watching some of those Greg Maddux games where he would throw 70 some odd pitches and a complete game.
Yeah.
And ground ball after ground ball, maybe 2 or 3 strikeouts.
Yeah. A couple of those backdoor two-seamers, yeah.
Going 85 to 90 miles an hour.
Yep.
And like I said, people would be like, and it's because I'd want to go back in time.
Yeah.
Here's what it is now. Impressive. Guys are throwing harder than they've ever thrown. Right down the middle. It's not a la Maddox. But not too many guys are painting like he could. So I think going back, you'd be like, whoa, again, I think it's just that brand of baseball, right?
Mm-hmm. That's I love that answer too, because it's always so cool to go back and watch a guy like Maddox pitch where he was, like you said, he was maybe throwing 90 miles an hour on his good days. And even on the days that he wasn't, he was still, I mean, there's crazy statistics about like the number of times he was ever in a 3-0 count. The numbers will blow your mind, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's.
So would a guy like that throws like Maddox, would he be draftable today in today's standards? Are you drafting a guy that you don't know if it's going to be Greg Maddox because he's got Bugs Bunny career statistics, which we'll never see those 250 to 300 win guys. We're never going to see a boatload of just, like I said, the crop. It's just a whole different brand that it's not the primary focus. The numbers are different. Quality start and innings pitched and walks per 9. It's a whole different cross section that they're not going to even look. They're not going to even a second look to those guys.
You're probably right. And to answer the question, so Greg Maddux in his career faced 20,421 batters during his entire time in the major leagues. 310 hitters out of the 20,421 ever saw a 3-0 count, and 177 of those were intentional walks anyway. So
that's retarded, bro.
That's is like, ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah,
it's that's like one of those jaw droppers. Jeez, yeah, it's
So if you saw Wonka, right? Imagine. What's the song? I saw Wonka with my kids.
I haven't seen it yet.
Great.
Yeah.
What's the song? Imagine. Something about imagine. It was about using your imagination.
Okay.
I don't even know. Are you
going to sing it for us or what?
Oh, God, no, man. You got to see the movie. Wonka, dude. There you go.
That was the last thing I expected on today's episode was a Wonka reference, but I love
imagination. Well, we're imagining things. We're coming up with hypotheticals.
Yeah.
And I think some of our album cover today, because we can't see the dancing bears on the back of yours, should be a little Wonka-ish, dude.
Mm-hmm.
The magic of the off season is always talk about that imaginary dream, that golden ticket to the World Series, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The Dodgers look like they got the Wonka bar with the golden tickets with an S plural. And there's a few still more out there. So it's going to be fun to see again. I enjoyed watching the playoffs this year, especially we're trying to get our Jace Peterson. And we got to embarrass Jace because he's such a techie. These guys are more talented on the field. Life after skills. We got the NIL course. We had some technical difficulties on getting them on the show, but we'll have them on. There's a lot of good.
Exactly, something to look forward to for everyone out there. Jace Peterson, who played with the Diamondbacks in the World Series this past year, so we'll have him on soon, and we'll be able to talk to him about that experience, which is super exciting. But for today's episode, I mean, I think we got some good stuff. It's
been a lot of pent up conversation.
Yeah, I know we've had a little bit of a break, and for our viewers out there, we apologize, but we're back on it, and we look forward to tackling what the rest of the offseason brings. It should ramp up soon. We got spring training now in a month. I mean, it's almost here, baby. So,
yeah, dude, that's crazy. I'm
time to roll.
Glad I can sit and talk about it and have to train about it. Bednar, one of our guys here, he was sitting there going like, man, it goes so fast. I go, It feels fast. And I'm watching watching the calendar every day. I wake up and I'm going like, man, I can't imagine that grind every day. It's the angst to be ready
of course.
And you got to show up prepared because you can be in shape. And if you're not in shape, I forget who it was. They always make pitchers run and they timed us. They were trying to see. And I'm like, oh man, this dude is going to get cut. He was trying to burn the candle at both ends. He was firing heaters, having a couple adult social sparklers too often. And we were all done running, and this guy was still running. And I'm like, oh, dude. I mean, is this guy trying out, or did he just like it?
Will you? I'm not going to ask who it was, but will you tell us the team?
It was with Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember what spring training was, but I was like, my heart sank for him. I'm like, oh, dude, I hope he's here tomorrow. It's too early to get cut yet, man.
Oh man, yeah. Well, hey, I hope you're here. I hope we're still here next week, which we will be, and we
Yeah.
look forward to bringing you guys another episode.
I'm going to use my pure imagination to know that
Boom.
the show is going on, and we're still here having mound visits. You know, I was talking to John Buck. We needed a trifecta. I mean, I said, guy, he's upset that someone took his rights to his show. Yeah, he walked away with his show. Can you imagine? I know where you are. I would come choke you out, mound visit, and relinquish, everything that we've done thus far together. But no, I said, dude, come over from the dark side, man. We would love to have John Buck join us. I mean,
absolutely, we would.
He talks more than us combined, but pitcher catcher relationship, those always stayed true. And I talked to him today. He was out digging dirt. So, Bucky, if you watch the show,
hey,
I know his imagination. He's building Life After Baseball. Life After. That's a show on Amazon. I just started watching too, bro. And he's out digging dirt, playing with the big Tonka toys, the real ones, digging a golf course in his backyard.
Ooh.
He's moving a lot of dirt.
Okay.
Dirt. Yep.
Okay. Hey, I mean, look, the show's called Mound Visit for a reason. It would only be fitting to have a pitcher and catcher on every week. So that's all I'm saying. Not that you're not enough.
No,
but
man.
That as a message to John Buck, we'd love to have him. So
the more you have insight, look, that's why they have panels of people on there. Yeah. They don't just have two; they got 5, 6, and I don't know who our good looking, eye candy is, because they probably come to the show more visitors, especially after my camel toe or moose knuckle, whatever the hell. You gotta edit that, please. Edit that, bro.
What a way to end it. Guys, thanks so much.
That freaking piece. It's been a minute.
I needed that. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, before one of us gets canceled on this show here, thanks so much for tuning in. You can find us on YouTube.
And we're back.
That's right. You can hear us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your shows. And you can hit us up on social media at Mound Visit Pod. Episode 40. Grilli, we are out.